Ladies and gentlemen, Happy New Year. It's 2022 and it's the first episode of the year from your boys at the Anglo-Italian pod. As always, I'm Tommy and I'm joined by my good friend
Rory. It is good to be back. Tommy, you happy to be back?
I'm super happy to be back. Yeah, we owe you guys an apology. We promised a few Monday shows that never happened, but Rory was traveling in England. Christmas holidays, family dinners, friends visiting. It was kind of all over the place, but it gave us the time to prepare for our favorite project, the new project. Rory, you want to say all about it?
The new project, what we've been promising for months now, and it's finally here. We are going to be talking all about, if you can spot the theme, the AFCON and the kickoff of this incredible and massively disrespected tournament. I am excited. I've been watching all of the games so far. I've been double screening, triple screening. I feel like yesterday was the first day in my life where I was like, there's too much football. I was quite oppressed by the amount of football. I had to keep up with the FA Cup, Serie A and AFCON whilst Arsenal got beaten by Nottingham Forest. Yesterday was a stressful day, but we're here to talk all about it. We are here to talk about it.
It's going to be Africa Cup of Nations month. There are going to be special guests. We're not going to tell you who, but we're already going to have two interviews that you're going to be able to listen to on our Friday episode this very week. And today, it's Monday. It's our Euro Review Monday, but of course, we're going to have a strong focus on the Africa Cup of Nations. We are going to talk a little bit about the history, the reasons why we decided to cover it, and then we're going to go in depth about the first four games that have been played. And as we are speaking, there is another one going on at this very moment. I believe the result is still 0-0. I would be surprised if it wasn't. Let me check. Yes,
It's still
Comoros.
0-0.
Gabon at the 3rd minute. They're playing for Group C. After then, Morocco won 1-0 against Ghana. Rory, very quickly, how was your winter break?
It was a little bit stressful, a little bit drunken, but it's good. I'm back in Milan now. I did end up stuck in the UK for a week because everybody has COVID there. But I did manage to get back. I got to see my friends, got to see my family, got to do a good bit of English drinking. So it was all right. How was yours, Tommy?
It was pretty good. It was very American-centered, I could say, since our good friend of the pod, Reed, visited at the end of December. And then two good friends of mine from Washington State came to Italy, and they took them on a beautiful culinary tour between Genova, Recco, Camogli, Lucca, Firenze, Bologna, and then back to Milan.
Wow.
And you know what was amazing about it? The fact that our longest drive was 2 hours. And you just see so many different places in Italy. It's mad. With 14 hours, you can go from the northernmost point to the southernmost point. But in between, there are just so many things to see, so many local dishes. It was beautiful to show my country to some people that had never visited before. So that was beautiful. A little tiring, I have to say, but now I'm back. I'm back.
And we're ready to get back to work. Woo! Back teaching. I'm super excited. But before that, we've got lots of football to talk about, Tommy. Lots of football to talk about. Now, if you've been following our socials, you will have seen that we've been doing a little bit of AFCON history, a little bit of a build-up, and we're just going to talk you through a little bit of the history of this competition now and why we've chosen to talk about it. So, Tommy, let's go.
Let's start from the why, exactly. So this was an idea that actually Rory put forward, and I was all about it. Honestly, and this says a lot about how little this tournament is covered. Until a few months ago, when managers in Europe and Italy and England especially started complaining about their players leaving for AFCON, I didn't even know that there would be the tournament in 2021. So when Rory said we should cover it because it's massively disrespected, I was just like, you know what? Fuck yeah. So, Rory, what prompted you to decide to cover this tournament?
Well, it's a tournament that I've watched for years, and it really started with this and with Kolo Touré at Arsenal. When we signed Kolo Touré, I kind of really instantly fell in love with him. I loved his vibe, that he was like a great defender, but also you didn't really know what he was going to do. And he was a little bit like the story about when he signed for Arsenal and he was 2-footing everybody and tackled Arsene Wenger. And it just, all this thing made me fall in love with him. And from then you know me, Tommy, I get very obsessed with things, and I became obsessed with Ivory Coast. I became obsessed with that team. And it was the generation that had the Touré brothers, Drogba. It had that real great Ivory Coast team. And at that point, I just started watching the tournaments. It was always on Eurosport, from what I remember. I think BBC did it a few times, and I always liked that the tournament was a little bit like, when you used to watch tournaments as a kid and you would discover players or teams, and you're like, oh, I didn't know that guy. I didn't know this team. I didn't know those players. And I feel like AFCON is one of the few tournaments left where you still get that. Like when we watch the Euros, we know about all the teams. We know about all the players. We know about all the
vast
managers.
majority. Yeah.
Exactly. And for most teams, you will know one player. You will know 3 players or something, right? But with AFCON, there's some teams where you have no idea. You're like, I don't know anything about Comoros, right? And it's a chance for you to discover all these new players, this new kind of footballing culture. And for me, I just find it absolutely fascinating. And yeah, I'm still obsessed with Ivory Coast and hoping that they can upset the apple cart a bit this year, but I'm not holding my breath.
Les Éléphants, the elephants from the Ivory Coast, of course, they have won only 2 AFCONs, and they could have arguably done a little better. If you go to our Instagram and Twitter, which I will remind you, our Instagram is at Anglo-Italian Pod, and our Twitter is at Italian Anglo Pod. You can see the little countdown that we did from 5 days to the tournament to 1 day to the tournament, and we talk about some of these stories. Unfortunately, Les Éléphants, they are protagonists in one of the possibly most standout moments of AFCON history. So this tournament actually started in 1957. Rory, let's see if you studied enough. Who is the team that has won it the most?
Egypt
with the 7. And if you go check out our Instagram, you will see that they had an incredible run. They did a 3-peat in 2006, 2008, and 2010. And they also went to the ended up runners-up for 2 editions in 1962 and 2017. Rory, second most wins in the AFCON.
I'm going to say, I don't know, Senegal. It isn't.
Senegal have never won it, actually.
They've never won it. The second I said it, I was like, they've never won it. Yeah,
they've never won it, which is one of the reasons why I'm supporting Senegal, also because of my good friend from high school, Amadou Sek, who gifted me a beautiful Senegal shirt that I'm not wearing right now, as you can see, but I will wear it for the next episode.
Next episode.
The team that has won the second most AFCONs is, of course, Cameroon, which are hosting the tournament this year. They've won it 5 times, and twice they've lost the final, followed by a team that has won less finals than the ones that they have lost. This team has a big fucking problem with penalties, not only in the AFCON, also in the World Cup. You will remember a game against Uruguay where Suarez saved, then they had the chance to win it. We're talking, of course, about Ghana. Another team that I would love to support, but Rory was just like, Tommy, after watching today's game, he was just like, Tommy, just don't go there. It's going to just be tears and pain.
We'll get onto it, but their squad hasn't changed since that Suarez World Cup, I'm pretty sure. Like, it's the same players.
The other winners with the 3 are Nigeria with 2, Rory's Ivory Coast, Algeria, which was also looking pretty good this year, also have 2, Democratic Republic of Congo have 2, and then with 1, we've got Zambia, Tunisia, Sudan, Ethiopia, Morocco, South Africa, and the Republic of Congo. And can you imagine who is the AFCON's top goal scorer of all time? I didn't know. I would have guessed it, though. It's a big name.
Eto'o?
Yes,
yeah,
Samuel
of course it is.
With 18 goals. So it's a tournament that, as Roy was saying, is also very interesting because some players we will know, some others we don't know, and we had to do research about them. But it's also pretty interesting because on the same field, there are people that will play in the 3rd Scottish division, and they will be on the other side of the pitch. There will be the captain of Napoli, arguably one of Italy's best teams. So that all makes it really, really interesting. So this edition, Rory, before we review the games, who do you think are the favorites to go all the way and lift the trophy, which, by the way, you can see in the background of our live stream, it looks pretty sick. It looks like it looks like an ice cream, kind of, in this sort of like very nice cone.
Yeah.
It's very nice. So, Rory, who do you think is going to lift the trophy?
Of the teams I've seen so far, the team that have impressed me the most, they've just finished playing, is Morocco. I think it was a terrible game against Ghana. It was a really bad game, but they were pretty efficient. They look solid defensively. As you can imagine, any team with Hakimi, they're really quick on the break. They've got a lot of pace, really kind of a very exciting team. Apart from that, I think Algeria, the fact that they won the previous one, they just won the Arab Cup as well. I think they're really on a high. They've got a real kind of golden generation there with the likes of Mahrez and Slimani. I think they're definitely going to be a team that should be there or thereabouts for winning it as well.
Mm-hmm. I actually thought before watching the game that they played today, I thought that Senegal would be one of the favorites, but then I saw the game today and I was slightly underwhelmed. They definitely have some star power, but we shall see how they do. The first game, of course, was the game of the hosts of the tournament, and it was so far the highest scoring game in this year's AFCON. One thing that you guys should know, if you look at the history of this tournament, usually low scoring games, and when the final comes on, you can expect a mad penalty shootout. The first game, however, was the only one so far where both teams involved managed to score a goal, and eventually Cameroon would win 2-1 against their opponents, Burkina Faso, who actually took the lead at the 24th minute thanks to Inter's new goalkeeper, Onana, deciding to pull an Andanovic in the same day that Andanovic pulls an Andanovic. So that was great. That was great understanding between our past and the future goalkeeper.
But it's a legacy, Tommy. It's a legacy now.
It's a beautiful fucking legacy. But Rory, what did you make of this game?
The first half was absolute madness. It was really, really hectic, really fast paced. Like it's the game that's felt the biggest so far. I think we've kind of off camera, we were talking a little bit about the crowds. Like the stadium was full, there was big noise. You could tell it was a big occasion. But Burkina Faso came out, and this is a team that have a lot of like attacking talent with players like Bertrand Traore, Tapsoba. They've got a lot of players that can. Like they play in the major top leagues of Europe, and they really did look like a good side. The goal was an absolutely beautiful goal. The cross from Traore was incredible. So it was like a corner first for Burkina Faso. They then had a header cleared off the line, but their pressure was so good that from one corner they ended up getting 3 attacks. This cross finally whips in, and Sangare with a volley just right into the roof of the net. Beautiful goal. And from there, I thought Cameroon were a little bit shook. They were a little bit in shell shock, but then Burkina Faso decided to just hand them 2 penalties in the first half and just let them back in the game. Like the first penalty, the tackle from, I need to get this name right, the first tackle was from Dio. No, it was Bertrand Traore again. So after his great assist, he goes in with a ridiculous tackle on Napoli's Anguissa. Absolute stonewall. For some reason, the VAR took about 5 minutes to check it. I've no idea why they.
I don't even know why the VAR was involved. That was just like a very clear-cut penalty.
Yeah, it was like the most stonewall I've seen in a good while. And Abubakar, the captain, steps up and tucks it away. And at that point, you're thinking, okay, Burkina Faso, just keep your heads, keep calm. And then they give away another penalty just before half time, like literally the 47th minute, I think it was. Again, a ridiculous tackle from Dio, and Abubakar steps up, puts it in the opposite corner as last time, and they're 2-1 up. But you could kind of see from like the very beginning of the game how Burkina Faso were going to play. So this was like the most AFCON moment, I think, and a reason why I love this tournament a little bit. The first yellow card was within 42 seconds, and it was a tackle that I swear could have broken his leg. Like it was a ridiculous tackle. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The tone has been set. And the rest of the game just kind of followed that. There was a lot of full-blooded tackles in that game. The second half was a bit quieter, but that first half was unbelievable.
And the first minute as well.
Like straight into him. Somehow the tackle is like his arm was flat on the ground, but his legs were higher than his head as he went into the player. It was ridiculous. But really set the tone for the tournament. And then the next game, we got the first red card. I'm surprised we didn't get one in this game, to be honest. But there were plenty of yellow cards dished out. I think the referee was quite trigger happy with some of them, but it was definitely a physical game, good game. In the second half, Cameroon had one disallowed. It was a bit questionable. And Burkina Faso had to make quite a few blocks. Cameroon definitely should have had a few more. But for Cameroon, it's an effective 3 points, right? In the group stage, it's just about getting through. For Burkina Faso, it's a little bit disappointing. This was a team that I thought they could still get through. Obviously, it's only the first game, and I think they could surprise people, but I was still a little bit disappointed in their, like, not a bit of lack of discipline, I suppose. It just kind of let them down when they didn't need that really.
Yeah, and I want to say that in this group, the team with definitely the most star power and the most experienced players is definitely Cameroon. As Rory was saying, Burkina Faso is a pretty exciting team, and I think they will be able to get a few points against Ethiopia and Capo Verde, who, however, get a very important 3 points in their first game of the tournament, helped also by the fact, as Rory was saying, that Ethiopia's Yared Baye got a red card within 12 minutes, pure AFCON style. We got a yellow card in the first game in the first minute, and then in the first half, in the first third of the first half of the second game, we get a red card right away. What did you make of this game that was eventually won by the 46th minute goal by Julio Tavares for Cape Verde?
I felt really bad for Ethiopia. Obviously, the red card didn't help, but despite the red card, they were still the much better team in the first half. Like, they really did have Cape Verde on the ropes quite a bit, and they were like managing to keep the ball, and you kind of started to forget which team was down to 10 men and which one wasn't. But then in the second half, as Ethiopia obviously tired, Cape Verde started coming into it. The players who really impressed me, there was one called Stopira for Cape Verde, who I thought was really, really great. And the goal was another great, incredible cross from Rodriguez for Tavares to kind of smash into the net. Really impressive goal. And Cape Verde, I thought I was impressed with, like, again, the pace in their team. The fact that they knew the system, right? It was very much like counter-attacking football, very disciplined, but they knew what they were doing. Each player knew their job, and they managed to get the job done. For Ethiopia, I think it was a really hard-working performance, and they did really, really well considering they were down to 10 men for 80 minutes. Like, to keep it 1-0 is fairly respectable. And again, Ethiopia are a team that if they keep 11 on the pitch, they've definitely got a shout at getting through the group. But Cape Verde are capable of upsetting people, and they've got some really, really good players in that squad. Tavares in particular, I was impressed with, and Stopira was very, very good.
And also, arguably, but don't guys get mad at me if you come from another country or everything, I think the coolest flag in the AFCON belongs to Ethiopia. There is just something about the little star in the middle, the three colors in the background, the little blue circle. I don't know. I like it. So that's Group A with Cameroon and Cape Verde now with 3 points. Of course, Cameroon leading on goal difference, and Burkina Faso and Ethiopia both at 0 points. Let's move on to today. And as I say, today, I checked the score for Comoros Gabon, and Gabon have just scored a goal at the 16th minute mark, thanks to Bupenza. Rory, what were you going to say about Gabon while we were off mic?
Gabon have had the definition of a nightmare start to this tournament. So they have had Lamina and Aubameyang were caught at a party, but they went out for dinner and they both got COVID. So that's 2 of their key players now out for this game. They've had a massive scandal breaking Gabon about child abuse within their football association. Their players are now striking and not training, apparently, because they've not been paid their game bonuses. It has been an absolute nightmare start for Gabon. And honestly, I expected and still expect Comoros to get something here. I'm surprised that Gabon have taken the lead, because it has been as bad a preparation for a tournament as you can imagine. Apparently, the players aren't happy with the hotel. They want to move. It's just not a happy camp at all. But for Comoros, this is their first ever AFCON, right? So this is kind of new ground for them. But they're a team that could definitely, I think they're not going to be as bad as people expect. I think Gabon are still going to have a nightmare tournament. It's been a really bad preparation for them. The fact that Aubameyang's been sent from Arsenal early kind of says what his personal life is like at the moment and how his career is going. So I think for someone who's such a talisman for that team, they really need to get him in there if they want to get out of the group, I think.
Quite a lot of experience, also European experience on the pitch right now between Comoros and Gabon. The majority of players, in fact, play in the old continent. But let's backtrack a little bit. Let's move to Group B, where Senegal won against Zimbabwe 1-0, thanks to a Sadio Mane 97th minute penalty. And right after, Guinea won 1-0 against Malawi, thanks to a goal by Silla. Now, the game by Senegal, I don't know why, but for some reason I was expecting Senegal to just kind of go in there and win this game and score a few. Zimbabwe are no mugs. They've got some experience in the pitch too, but I was kind of underwhelmed by the game in general. What did you make of it, Rory?
Yeah, I was underwhelmed by Senegal massively. I think they very much their plan seemed to be give it to Mane and see what he can do. Which you can kind of understand when you've got like a world class player. Although they've got a few around that team, but when you've got a world class striker, he becomes your plan A, plan B, and plan C, and that's what it kind of felt like. He had a moment where he rounded a defender, but just smashed it straight at the goalkeeper. He's kind of rushing it a little bit. I feel like Senegal didn't really have another plan. And for Zimbabwe, it was just about staying focused, staying disciplined. And they played really, really well. I think they definitely deserved something from the game. They had a few chances and could have got a few goals. With just a little bit more experience or a little bit more calm, they could have taken the lead. But then to lose in the 97th minute to a penalty just feels awful. They definitely don't deserve it. And I'm going to say Zimbabwe have the best kits of the tournament. That kit is unbelievable. It's a beauty. So I think they could definitely surprise a few people. But Senegal, for them, again, like I said a minute ago, it's just about getting through the groups. And for them, it's like, right, 3 points, 1-0, done, next game. Because Senegal, as you said at the beginning, they've never ever played. They've never ever won the tournament, right? And Mane, I think, before the tournament said, "I would swap all the medals I've won in my career to win this with Senegal." Like they want this badly because they know that for a lot of the players, it's their last chance or could be their last chance. They want this a lot. So I think for them, they'll just be like, right, 3 points, next one. We can think about playing well when we've got our hands on the trophy or something. I think they just want to win. Like.
And Senegal going into this game with a 6-man bench. Of course, Koulibaly is out at the moment. He will recover and eventually join his team. But I was surprised by seeing that there were only 6 people on the bench. And if you consider the situation, then these 3 points are absolutely golden for les Sénégalais. But let's move on to Guinea, Malawi, another very low-scoring game. Guinea eventually win the game thanks to Sila's goal at the 35th minute. Now, this game, I literally just saw the goal. It happened today. Was kind of busy with work. Rory, did you have a chance to go a little deeper into it than I did?
You can take us through the goal, Tommy. I literally just saw the goal celebration. I was trying to double screen and my tablet collapsed. My tablet completely collapsed.
I let it go. So you didn't even see the goal? Right now on the spot, I'm blacking out completely on how the goal looked like. I'm gonna look it up right now again, see if I can find it, and we're gonna move on to Group C, Morocco, Ghana. And here, Rory, you have a hot take. Morocco, possibly the best team that you've seen play so far.
Yeah, I think they're the team that I think have looked most impressive. Like they have their coach, they have a system, they know what they're doing. They have a very solid defense. Their goalkeeper he made a great couple of saves from Ghana as well. Really kind of kept them in the game at one point. Their defense is solid. Their midfield didn't face much competition against Ghana's today, but they've got a solid midfield. And like I said, they've got a lot of pace on the counter-attack. Hakimi just had the full wing to go up and down, which he loves to do. And up front, they've got some strikers that like now Boufal, Premier League watchers will remember him from Southampton and like flattering to deceive just a little bit. But he scored a beautiful goal. I absolutely smashed it, even though the Ghanaian defending was absolutely terrible. They all just seemed to dance around the ball rather than clearing it. Made it really easy for Boufal. But I think Morocco looked... Yeah, they're the team that I think looked the biggest threat so far, but we still have a lot of big teams to play yet. We've still got Algeria to come up. We've still got Nigeria, whatever the hell's going on there, but we've still got Nigeria, still got some of the contenders to come up, but I think Morocco have impressed me the most so far. Ghana were absolutely terrible. The fact that they've still got the Ayew brothers up front is genuinely concerning. Like, they were good players in their day. I think good and enough. I don't think they were great. I think they were just good players. And now they both look pretty old. And I can't believe that that's still their kind of system. It seems like they've not moved on since the 2010 World Cup. And that was 11, 12 years ago now. Like, you need... whether they need the balls to just bring through a new generation or they just haven't got that new generation, I don't know. Someone who watches more Ghanaian football than me would know. But I feel like they need to take that move on because they had zero presence up front today at all. Apart from Sulemane, that guy was really good. The guy's 19 and his dribbling is ridiculous. He was the one player that I thought, okay, there's a bright spark for Ghana. Like Sulemane really does look exciting, but the rest of the team, Thomas Partey was an absolute disaster. Like genuinely terrible. I think this is not good for Ghana.
And going back to the Guinea-Malawi game, I got to rewatch the goal now. I remember it's a nice little drive down the left flank, actually the left side of the box from Jose Kante, who then slides and gets the ball just into the box between the legs of a defender, and Isiaga Silla just has to tap it in to win the game. So in Group B, we've got both Senegal and Guinea with 3 points, Zimbabwe and Malawi with 0. And in Group C, Morocco with 3 points, Ghana with 0, and we shall see the result of the Comoros-Gabon game. Of course, we will update you towards the end of this live stream. And our friend, the Hopeless Wanderer, has been commenting, and I'm going to go through his comments. He said that Senegal flattered to deceive. As Tommy pointed out, they haven't won the tournament despite having better squads in the past. Thank you very much. Sometimes I love when the Hopeless Wanderer podcast, when they compliment me, I feel just, thank you, man. Then we've got, always from our friend Adam, my tip for the final winner is either Algeria or Morocco. And
great minds think alike, Adam. Great minds think alike.
Great minds. So a compliment for me, a compliment for Rory. Very good. And then an impartial comment that just says, Felix Gian potentially for future of Ghana. Well, they definitely need, I feel like Ghana is one of those teams that kind of lives in the glory of the past. And I think it would be, as Rory pointed out, it would be a good moment to start thinking about how to refresh the squad a little bit, make it a little younger, make it a little more dynamic, and not rely on the big names that made the history of the Ghanaian team in the past.
Well, listen, the thing is with Felix Jam, we've seen him impressing for Roma, but I'm not sure whether he was stopped from going or he didn't want to go to the tournament, he wasn't picked. I don't know what the situation was, but the fact he isn't in the squad is kind of weird because he is a player that, well, we saw in Serie A, he came on and scored 2, won the game for Roma. He is a player they definitely should be looking at or kind of focusing on.
And talking about players that didn't join their national team, tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central European Time, Nigeria take on Egypt, of course, without Victor Osimhen. Now, did you follow that story a little bit? That was weird, dude.
Yeah, so I've seen on Nigerian Twitter, they're accusing Napoli of kind of the dark arts. So Napoli said he had COVID. Now he's all clear, but it's too late to register him, so he can't play for the squad. But now he can go back to Napoli and join their team. It does. The cynic in me is definitely like Napoli played that so well. But Nigeria have kind of been shafted because Watford took away Emmanuel Dennis from them as well. Their squad is a little bit in pieces. And I saw a video today of Iheanacho and one of the other Nigerian players kind of play fighting in the hotel, but it started as a play fight and then definitely looked really serious towards the end. Their coach, people are really not happy with. He's like incredibly inexperienced, really doesn't know what he's doing. I think Nigeria could be a bit of a like France 2010 was that the tournament when they exploded? I think Nigeria could be that in this AFCON. It's kind of a bit of a powder keg building up, which is a shame because they've got a really great squad.
Iwobi, just being some of the names. I was just going through the squad right now. Musa as well. It's not a bad team, but definitely Osimhen up front, and it would have been such an exciting game. You know, Mo Salah against Nigeria's Osimhen's Nigeria would have made for great games. The Flying Eagles against the Pharaohs, but hey, we will see. It's football. You know that in this podcast we're all about wrong predictions, so you might as well bet those £5 on Nigeria winning the AFCON. Shut us up. On the same group tomorrow at 8 p.m. we've got Sudan versus Guinea Bissau, and only one game from Group E tomorrow is going to be played, and it's Algeria taking on Sierra Leone. So these are the games for tomorrow, while on Wednesday we are going to have Equatorial Guinea playing Ivory Coast, Rory's Ivory Coast, Les Elephants, and Tunisia taking on Mali, and Mauritania taking on Gambia. And on Thursday, it will be the start of Group A again. We will be recording at that point for our Friday episode, and you will know all about the following action. Rory, anything to add about this first AFCON coverage of this month?
No, I think I'm just excited to see the tournament start. I think it's going to be like, it's been a slow start. There's not been a lot of great games. There's not been a lot of goals. But I think as the tournament goes on, when it gets down to like the knockout stages is going to be really, really entertaining. And there will be some teams that surprise you. I think maybe there's like a natural instinct to think, oh, because it's Comoros, they're going to be terrible. I've never heard of Comoros, but some of these teams are actually very, very good and definitely worth watching. So I think even if it's been a slow start, stick with it. It's always a great tournament, and there will definitely be penalty shootouts in the knockouts. There always is. It's like a law in AFCON, and they're always like 12, 13. It's never settled within the 5. Never.
No, never. 20. I was looking up the story. One of the ones that we posted, it was like 21 penalties at the end, like total. It was like mad, man.
The record, the world record longest penalty shootout is in the AFCON. I think the top 2 are in AFCON. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
By the way, one thing that Hopeless Wanderer just typed, our friend Adam, is that actually Osimhen, and that's what I heard too, that Osimhen chose that he wasn't ready, and apparently he wrote to the Nigeria Football Association and he just said, guys, I don't want to play for this tournament. I don't know if it's because he's still undergoing recovery for his former injury, because he had the COVID or not, but it was kind of a weird situation. And it was weird because I follow him on social media and it feels like all of Nigeria is behind him. And I wonder what the reaction has been for this one.
He's also a great follow. If they could just get Google Translate for Pidgin, that would be great. Because I can't really I get the beginning, and then it disappears. I really do need Google Translate because some of it, I think it's funny. I just can never quite tell.
He posts a lot of funny memes that I wish I could understand, but I don't have the language knowledge to get there. By the way, a little round of applause from myself to Rory, because Rory has been really, well, he had to quarantine back in England. And during that time, he just became a big DMer, as he usually does, even bigger. And he's...
Watch out, ladies.
Yeah, exactly. Tiziana, don't listen. This is Rory's girlfriend. But no, he was really able to bring in some big names that are going to talk to us about the AFCON. They're going to join our shows, either the Friday shows or the Monday shows, and it's going to be exciting also for us to discover more about this kind of unknown tournament that, however, is massive for the continent that it represents. So, Rory, we're at 34 minutes. We still have 26 minutes to go. Do you think it's time to talk very briefly about the biggest transfer market headlines that there have been?
Let's do it. I think we need to go back to our roots, Tommy. We need to go back to our roots and back to Premier League, Serie A, back to Europe, just for a bit.
Back to Europe. So let's just start from the biggest one, which I think is just like a big thing for a city far, far away from Africa. We're going to move all the way to Canada. Toronto FC signing Lorenzo Insigne with a pharaonic contract starting on July 1st, 2022. Lorenzo decided that it was about time to make this kind of move, and he did. It's kind of surprising for me because I thought he still had, some drive to win with Napoli, or some drive to maybe move to a bigger club than Napoli in Europe. I don't mean to sound disrespectful, but apparently, no, he wants to join the big Italian community of the Canadian city and possibly become a household name of what is their mascot? I have no idea. The Raptors? I don't know.
I've no idea, but I did see that at the signing, the photos at the signing, he did his best to dress like Drake. He had the same haircut, the sunglasses. He looked exactly like Drake. It was a bit insane. He's definitely already.
Is Drake gonna drop lines with Lorenzo in it, Insigne in it? Oh my God!
It's gonna be Lorenzo Insigne like courtside at the Toronto Raptors and stuff. You know it's gonna happen, right? He's gonna be hanging out with Drake so quickly. Yeah.
God, I didn't think about that. But what do you think of this decision, Rory? He's he's turning 31 this year, and what do you think about the decision to just move all the way to Canada?
It's a little bit surprising. I on the same hand, I think he doesn't want to play for another Italian team because he'd only ever play for Napoli. I don't think there was many teams outside Italy that had much of an interest in him without being like rude. I didn't hear any Premier League teams linked with him. I didn't hear La Liga, Bundesliga. So I think maybe his hand was forced a little bit. I think the contract definitely helps. Like he's earning more money on that contract than he's probably earned at Napoli his entire time there. Like there is a big pay rise. So I think it's surprising and disappointing. I'll be sad to see him leave the league. He's a player I really enjoy watching. He's been a kind of talisman for Napoli over the last decade, however long it's been. But he definitely strikes me as the kind of guy who wants to build his brand, and he wants to be like, the big guy in a small pond, again, without being rude. I think he's going to go out to Toronto and absolutely smash it. Sebastian Giovinco was out there and had a great career. Like, I don't think the MLS, it's improving, right? The standard is improving. Its reputation is improving. I think it's not a horrific move, and I don't know how many other teams were interested.
Our friend Adam says, wait until he learns the tax system in Canada. LOL. That's actually a pretty good point. I don't know. The Napoli, I have to say that the Maradona Stadium, Napoli is a stadium, they all stood up and like clapped him. Apparently, it had gotten to a point where he was asking for a raise. His contract was about to expire. Napoli really couldn't make that offer. And then eventually they decided they agreed to this thing, and he's going to leave. Definitely Napoli are going to look a lot different next season if both Insigne and Mertens leave, and it will be the end of an era, after Hamsik, after Insigne, maybe it's going to be Mertens, and Napoli are going to have to recreate their team a little bit, which, looking at the latest results, might not even be that bad of a thing. Maybe Napoli actually need a big change to actually make a statement. Pretty funny what I heard. I saw this meme. It was like, when Spalletti starts managing your team, you can be sure that your captain is going to leave. First Totti, then Icardi, and then Insigne. Boom, done. Away.
This is a good question. Sorry, just in from Hopeless Wanderer again. Will he still be in the Italy squad? Maybe the Chiesa injury dictates this. Do you think he would get picked now he plays in the MLS, or will he just be forgotten?
There is a little bit of racism from the Italian national team when players move to another continent and they kind of like fall out the radar. I mean, Giovinco was kind of always in the national team, and then when he made the move to Canada, they kind of told him, like, we're not gonna call you up that much anymore. I think that Insigne, the manager is the same, so Mancini's still managing the team. Insigne did win the Euros with Italy, did score a very important goal in that game. Chiesa is now out injured for the rest of the season, so I think that it would be, Italy's chances of qualifying for this World Cup are already slim, and I think that he's going to be called up for this game, for those two games, definitely. Then we will see what happens in the future. The other big name, Onana, signing for Inter Milan, and he's going to be available starting from the end of the season. But also Christoph Piontek, coming back from Hertha Berlin. That is the dumbest celebration fucking ever. He doesn't even do it in a smooth way. He doesn't even shoot the two guns. I don't know. It feels like he's having like an epileptic attack a little bit. But Fiorentina made this decision to sign Piontek. Do you think this is a replacement for Vlahovic, or they're going to play together?
I can't even control my excitement about this. It feels like we're really pushing for Vlahovic, and I'm really trying not to get overexcited. What I've read is that Vlahovic is happy to come. He's happy with the contract. Fiorentina are happy to sell. Arsenal are happy to pay well over the odds, but it is Vlahovic's agent that is apparently getting in the way. I think that his agent is trying to use us to get offers from other clubs, but interestingly, no other clubs are really looking at him. Like, City want Haaland, Real Madrid want Mbappe. Like, every other team kind of wants a different striker, and I feel like Arsenal are the only club now, and they're trying to take advantage quickly and be like, right, get him now before anybody else looks. I think he could be a replacement, but I kind of get the feeling that Vlahovic's agent is just playing us. We'll get beaten to him by Bayern Munich in the summer. But I'm really trying hard not to get overexcited, because if we sign Vlahovic, I might explode. Like, holy shit, that would be incredible. That would be incredible.
I think that could be the beginning of a new era. And our friend Joe Spagnoli is asking, would Rory combust if Vlahovic wanted to Newcastle?
Yes, yeah. Short answer, yes. There would be a rant about evil blood money within the Premier League, and it would not be bitter whatsoever.
Another name that Rory was very happy about, English players taking over Italy. It's Maitland-Niles this time around, joining Mourinho's court and already playing his first game against Juventus. He had a pretty good game despite the loss. Rory, what does this mean for Italians loving English football?
I think just with Maitland-Niles, just sit and watch him and enjoy. He plays like he's playing Super League on a Tuesday night. He's ridiculously calm, really chilled. If he ever takes a penalty for you, just bask in it. He is the best penalty taker I've ever seen in my life. He is a great player. Like, I think his strength is his versatility. He can play right back. He can play in midfield. He's technically very good. His passing's good. He's strong. He's quick. And he genuinely, like, he's a player that I'm kind of disappointed Arteta doesn't like, because I think he really could do a job for Arsenal. Last night against Forest, we definitely could have done with him. Like, so I think for Roma, it's actually a really good signing. If they give him time, and it looks like he's going to get opportunities, like going straight into the first team, I think he could be a really good signing. And that little English core building in Roma, Smalling is having a great season again. Tammy Abraham is the highest scoring English player in any of the top 5 divisions in Europe. Like, I think this English core that they're getting is actually quite good for them. Roma, I don't know what else is happening beyond them. They are impossible to predict or watch or deal with. But I think there's started to be something built there, maybe.
We're going to get there. But Rory, biggest transfer headlines in England before we kind of review Serie A, the FA Cup, and then there is a big game coming up this week too in Italy.
The big story so far really only involve Aston Villa. The massive one is Philippe Coutinho signing on loan for Aston Villa, which I think is going to go one of two ways. It's going to be Liverpool Coutinho, or it's going to be Barcelona Coutinho. And that may seem obvious to say, but I get the feeling this transfer could be an absolute train wreck. And I think he's just signed. Obviously, it's worth a punt for Aston Villa. It's short term. They don't have to pay all of his wages. They only pay a bit of his wages. He played with Steven Gerrard, so there's like a relationship there. I think it made sense for Aston Villa, but I think this is a player who has not played well since he left Liverpool, arguably. I think he did okay at Bayern, but he was a bit of a utility player there. I don't know if he's going to be able to come in and give Villa that extra step. Like, they've already got so many attacking midfielders like Buendia, Leon Bailey, Traore. I'm not sure how they're all going to fit in, but it could be a good signing. I kind of get the feeling it won't be. And today, Aston Villa have been linked with Lucas Digne from Everton, which could be a hell of a signing. People have known for a while that Digne is very unhappy at Everton because everybody linked with Everton, everybody involved in Everton at the moment is very unhappy. So why wouldn't Lucas be? So it looks like he's basically told Benitez he wants to leave. Aston Villa are looking for a kind of backup left back. It's mad. Like, their wing backs are so good, Target and Cash. If they get Digne as well, you're like looking at some seriously strong depth in the wing back position. So I think that could be a great signing for Villa if they pull it off. But it seems like it's still some way to go there. Beyond that, there's a lot of teams just being linked with players, mainly Arsenal with Vlahovic, and United being linked with everyone and no one at the same time. I think their fans are kind of getting frustrated at the lack of action so far. But remember, you spent all your money on Ronaldo. Unlucky.
And should we talk about Kieran Trippier not really knowing where the Newcastle logo is in his picture? But there are so many questions I have about that picture. What about the photographer? What about the other 4 people in the studio not telling him anything? He's the least responsible for that.
Did he have like no memory on his card? He was like, right, we've got one picture and that's it. Like, it better be a good one. It better be a good one.
Can't you delete it? No, it's a new camera. God damn it. I don't know how to do it, dude. It's just like, we got to take that picture and post it online. That was pretty hilarious. But also, I just wanted to report something that I read online that I thought was very funny. That said, never forget that Barcelona signed the Coutinho 3 years ago for 150 million, and this most memorable memory during that spell is him scoring for Bayern against Barcelona in one of their worst games of all time. I was just like, this is so Barcelona, and I love it.
And now they've signed Ferran Torres and can't even register him. They're desperately trying to get rid of players. Still can't register him. That club. If you're a Barcelona fan, I'm sorry, but you deserve it. But also, you must be pulling your hair out. You must absolutely be pulling your hair out.
Yeah, and also I read that there was some, like, Barcelona didn't really know if they were going to push for Ferran Torres, for Morata, if they were going to do it for both. In the end, they signed Ferran Torres. They still went for Morata, but at the same time, they were just like, how the fuck are we going to play these 2 players? Like, the wages and everything, the position on the pitch, it just sounds like it's always a kind of a bin fire. Despite the president of Barcelona saying that this is the beginning of a new era and everything is going to be great. Really reminds me of Allegri saying that next year they are going to compete for the Scudetto. I don't know about that one. Rory, shall I review very quickly what happened in Serie A?
Let's do it.
All right, in Serie A, it's madness about the coronavirus rules right now. Last week, there were some games that were supposed to be played, then they weren't going to be played, and then now the last thing that was said is that it doesn't matter how many players are out with COVID. If you can field a starting 11 with your first team players and some youth team players, and you have a certain amount of number of players on the bench, at that point, the game goes through. I'm not going to say anything more about that because I just think it's kind of, I don't know, they're messing it up big time. But Venezia, AC Milan making it 3-0 away at Venezia. I have to say one thing about this game. I don't know if there were any people injured or not, but it looked pretty fucking cool. The AC Milan Ultras in Venezia, they got a little boat to get to the stadium and they were shooting fireworks from it. And
Holy
apparently
shit.
some of these flares just like hit the docks in Venice. I don't know if I didn't read about any damage. Usually in Italy, especially in Venice, when there is a tiny bit of damage, they all talk about it. I don't know if it was just a cool show or if something got damaged, but it looked pretty sick. Ibrahimovic scored at the 2nd minute, and then Theo Hernandez, can he only run and score screamers? Not only, he can also take penalties and be very effective. That makes it 3-0 for AC Milan away at Venezia, who are now trailing by 1 behind Inter, despite Inter having 1 game in hand because last week they did not play against Bologna. Empoli Sassuolo 1-5. Everybody thought that with the Zerbi gone, who I haven't checked on Shakhtar for a second, but I don't think he's doing that great over there.
Last time I checked, they were 2nd in the Ukrainian league. Keep talking, and I'll check.
All right, keep checking and I'll talk. But Berardi, Raspadori, and Scamacca. Scamacca gets subbed in the second half. He just scores 2 goals. Raspadori is super in form as well. Is this going to be our upfront duo in the World Cup qualifiers? Rory thinks so, and I'm starting to think that could probably be the best idea, our best option right there. Empoli collapsing after a good start of the season and a good campaign, but over the last 4 games, they've only managed to pick up 2 points and they've conceded a ton of goals. 4 against AC Milan at home, 3 against Lazio, and 5 against Sassuolo. Something definitely needs to be addressed for the Tuscans. Petagna.
Another player that Arsenal have been linked with is Ricci from Empoli. Apparently, Arsenal are looking at, which I was pretty excited about, an exciting young midfielder in Empoli. I've not seen too much of him, but what I have seen, I've been quite impressed. Just very quickly, De Zerbi does now have Shakhtar top of the table, 2 points ahead of Dynamo Kiev. They've only lost 1 so far this season, so not too bad, but their Champions League campaign was an absolute car crash, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Also, I absolutely love the selfie from Scamacca and Frattesi after the game, saying +7 for our beautiful fantasy football managers. I was just like, that's pretty dope. In case you don't know, there is a huge pressure on fantasy football on the players. Like, people will text them like, "Dude, you got to score more. Like, I'm gonna lose the league and shit." By the way, a recent study highlighted that there is a correlation between mental illness and fantasy football. A lot of people get too invested in it. Boys, just do like me, just like do the lineup. In the past I got too caught up in it. Right now, just like I do the lineup, it's usually the wrong one, and then I just see what the score is. But a very exciting goal was Petagna's 1-0 against Sampdoria. He had no right whatsoever to try that Kung Fu Ibrahimovic-like kick, but he did so, and he scored an absolute banger. Beautiful picture while he's hitting it. I don't know if Mertens is complaining towards the ref because he was taken down, but there is this picture of Mertens with his eyes open and his mouth wide open, looking at Petagna fly high, and that was great. That brings Napoli in 3rd position with 43 points. They are 5 behind AC Milan and 6 behind Inter, who, however, have a game in hand. Right behind them is Atalanta, also with a game in hand, with 41 points. An absolute firework of a game, 6-2 against Udinese. And ladies and gentlemen, in case you were wondering, Luis Muriel is officially back. And the first of the 2 goals that he scored was an absolute belter. I haven't seen I don't see that often a forward that can take on two defenders and just ping it left to the far post like he did. 6-2, 8 goals in a game, which confirms that Serie A is a very, very exciting league to watch in this 2021-2022 season. Genoa fall to Spezia 1-0, and then absolute madness between Roma and Juventus. Eventually, the Bianconeri come out winners thanks to a De Sciglio goal. De Sciglio, who hadn't scored since the release of the iPhone 7, I read today. Yeah, back in the day.
That was an absolutely chaos game from Roma. I would love to see Joe Spagnoli's thoughts on it if he's in the chat, of just what the hell's going on at Roma. They went 3-1 up, a beautiful free kick from Pellegrini. They looked to be in control of the game, and then I think the impression I got was the Mourinho just mismanaged the game, bad substitutions, tactically not great, and just let Juventus back into the game. So irritating. It now gives Juventus a kind of, they're still in the European race, whereas Roma are almost definitely out of it now, at least for the Champions League anyway.
And Pellegrini missing a very important penalty that could have made it 4-4. That was bad. That fucking Jorginho skip. Why do people keep doing that? That's boring. It's stupid. And the goalkeeper, if he's as experienced as Chesney, he will have a higher chance at saving it than if you just fucking ping it top. I don't know, man. Central.
Just hit it as hard as you can. Just hit it as hard as you can.
Exactly. Within the goal, possibly.
Yeah.
Salernitana making the headlines. They win their third game of the season.
Away. They win away.
They won away. It was 1-0. Then Verona made it 1-1. And 10 minutes later, it was just like, nope, we've got this. So even scoring after they got scored against, that doesn't sound like Salernitana. Good job, boys. And then Inter Milan scoring with 2 defenders to win the game against the Lazio. But my question is, before we review the FA Cup very quickly, is Bastoni really a defender? Because it's starting to feel like this guy can do it all.
I did see I think it was a friend of the show, Uncle Sharma, shared a video where Bastoni said, I'm an attacking midfielder who plays in defense. And I think he really does look like a midfielder. His ability, his passing, his
crosses,
ability on the ball, his crossing, everything about him. He's like, I think I said to you when I first started watching him, I was like, this guy, I think is going to be like the next great Serie A defender. And every time I see him, I'm like, he's going to be a legacy defender for Inter. I think he's going to be one that's like, if his career keeps going on this trajectory, he's going to be one that's in there with like Lucio and the rest of them as like a great defender. The guy can do it all. A great goal from outside the area. And then his assist, the cross for it was a Skriniar header, right? The cross for Skriniar was unbelievable. It just bounced over the line, but what a ball in that was. It was incredible. The guy, obviously man of the match and a player that we've talked about a lot. I really enjoy watching him play. Like, really enjoy it.
That goal was absolutely perfect. And Andanovic, we're not going to say it again, but what the fuck were you doing, bud?
That goal was a disaster, man.
Ooh, we've got Joe saying something about Roma. He says, Roma are like a drip feeding you pure PTSD. I'm struggling to subscribe to Jose's idea that more red cards equals stronger mentality. Well put, Joe. That was everything that we needed to hear. And the last game in Serie A was Torino. Stunning. Fiorentina, 4-0. This just happened today. 4-0 goals by Singo, a brace by Brecalo, and the final cherry on top for Sanabria. Fiorentina slightly struggling. They've only made 2 points over the last 3 games, and they haven't won since they played against the Salernitana and won that game 4-0. Word for Sanchez as well, bringing back his form of old, says Adam, and I would agree with you.
Yeah.
Rory, it's FA Cup action.
FA Cup. So I'm going to quickly go through the headlines and I'm going to try and not talk about Arsenal too much because that was horrible. So starting with the biggest upset, I'm going to say the biggest upset was League One Cambridge knocking out richest club in the world, Newcastle, at St. James's Park. Ironside, great name, scoring the goal. And the Cambridge goalkeeper Mitov making a great save in like the 90th minute to keep them in the game. It was Trippier's debut and he was off target in all senses, not just unable to find the badge on his shirt. But that was a great thing about the FA Cup. You still get these massive upsets, and we've still had a few of them. Obviously, the next one is Nottingham Forest beating Arsenal. So Arsenal have lost in the third round twice since 1996. Both times have been to Nottingham Forest. It's a bit mad, and both times have been away to Nottingham Forest. Again, I'm going to do Arsenal really quickly, but the problem we have is that we have zero strength in depth. If we don't have our first 11, like the downgrade from Kieran Tierney and Tomiyasu to Tavares and Suarez is terrifying. Cedric, I never want to see him in an Arsenal shirt again. He's terrible. Tavares is still too raw. Arteta dragged him off after 20 minutes. He played that badly. I think after 20 minutes, Arteta was like, right, you're off. Brought on Tierney. It was definitely a massive statement from Arteta. Like, if you are not playing well enough, you are not going to play. Nottingham Forest played unbelievably. We were terrible. We dressed like Tottenham in all white, and we played like Tottenham. We were dog shit. And the thing is, there's just no quality. There's no quality outside the first 11, and we're a little bit screwed. Arteta did bring on Kolasinac at the end, which I think was also a massive statement of like to the board, look, this is what I have to work with. I need signings. I need new players. These players aren't good enough. After the game in the press conference, Arteta said, we were not good enough to beat a championship team away. And he was really brutal about it. We're not good enough, so we need more quality. He's definitely making that claim to the board that they need to spend money. I get the feeling we are going to spend money this January. But beyond that, we had a few more upsets. Kidderminster Harriers knocking out Championship Reading 2-1 after going 1-0 down from a goal from Pushkash for Reading. Great name. Love to hear that again. Kidderminster did get 2 goals from Austin and Morgan Smith to beat the Championship side in a massive upset there. Everton needed extra time to beat Hull away. Andros Townsend had to score in the 99th minute. Everton conceded in the first minute through Smith. So things definitely still not rosy at Everton, even though they did eventually get the win. Boreham Wood of the National League knocked out Wimbledon of League One 2-0. Marsh and Clifton getting the goal. That's another great, like these kind of semi-pro National League teams, seeing them about is always good. And then the kind of heartwarming story of the weekend, Stoke, a team I usually absolutely despise, but Stoke City did have Ian Wright's grandson, Kevin Campbell's son, and Paul Ince's son all playing for the team, playing in their first 11. Kevin Campbell and Paul Ince's sons both scored. Ian Wright's grandson made his debut as they beat Orient 2-0. And then finally, I was a bit cocky in our English-American group, Tommy, wasn't I? Winding up the Spurs fans when they were 1-0 down. They were trailing 1-0 to Morecambe before they brought on all their big players because they weren't good enough. They brought on Kane. They brought on Mora, I think. And in the end, they won 3-1. Nice and easy for Spurs-ish. I think the second, Morecambe gifted them then goals as well. The goalkeeper messed up on the first one. The centre-back gave away the ball for the second, and then Morecambe just kind of gave up. But that was the FA Cup headlines. The big games of the next round, we have Liverpool taking on Cardiff City. Man City taking on Fulham. Kidderminster Harriers will be hosting West Ham. Nottingham Forest, who beat Arsenal, will be playing Leicester City. Chelsea will host Plymouth Argyle. Everton taking on Brentford. Tottenham taking on Brighton. And Boreham Wood get Bournemouth as their prize for making it through to the 4th round.
I'm trying to understand what's the logo of the Kidderminster Harriers.
I think
Looks
it's
like
a bird.
crab. Might be a bird. Who knows?
I think it's some kind of bird.
Weird logo. But guys, there is one last thing that we needed to tell you. We're kind of surprised to remember that this is happening because there has been so much football going on. But ladies and gentlemen, this very Wednesday at 9 p.m., Inter Milan take on Juventus for the Italian Super Cup final. I am very excited about this one. Could be the first trophy of the season. I am going to be angry if Juventus snatch the trophy from us. It would be the first Super Cup in more than 10 years. So definitely a nice little thing to add. And it would be Inzaghi's first trophy at Inter Milan. Hopefully the boys go in with their Serie A mentality where they're just looking like the most informed team. And we can snatch the silverware. What do you say, Rory?
I think Juve without Chiesa are going to be in a lot of trouble. He is the only bright spark in that team. So I think that is a massive positive for you that he will not be playing. Although Dybala does still look dangerous, but I think they're going to be relying on Dybala too much now, right? I think Allegri said he was going to split the responsibility between Dybala and Chiesa, and now it's going to be just Dybala. So we will see how it goes. Juve still look terrible despite beating Roma. They look terrible.
Also, very important message to Dybala's girlfriend. If you guys break up, I am single and I am always available. I didn't know who she was. Then I bumped into her. I was like, hey, look at that. But guys, I think we're done. Don't forget about our AFCON action and your AFCON action. Currently, Gabon are still 1-0 against the Comoros at the halftime mark. We are going to be back with our podcast on Friday, featuring 2 AFCON-related interviews. We'll definitely cover more of the tournament, but also keeping an eye on the Italian Super Cup, FA Cup action, Premier League action, and all the football that there is out there. Rory, was it nice to be back?
It feels so good to be back. We will be back in the swing of things, back with you on Friday. Have a good week, guys.
Guys, have a good week. Thank you for joining us, Joe, Massimo, and Adam from the Hopeless